Hello and very warm welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are going to learn about MVVM design pattern, that is model view model design pattern in iOS. So I already created the interface for our tutorial for today, and it contains the username text field and a password text field with a login button, and the label you are seeing at the top will display the message if there is an error or whether the user logged in with the particular username. So let's start. In model view model, let's say what our model represents. So here let's make MVVM. So here we say M represents model and it contains data or info for our app. So the model part only contains the relevant info. For example, in our case, if we log in, then it contains the user info, that what's the username, last name, his email, etc. And then we have our view, or you can say it's a view controller, and it represents the UI and data displayed to user. Lastly, we have our MVVM. So VM, here you can see it's V, and here MVVM, and it says view model. So it acts as a bridge between model and view and contains business logic for the view. So here we have MVVM. Now let's implement it into our app. So we have already set up the UI part, and here we have a function that when user tap on the login button and LBL message that displays the info and txt username and txt password. So let's say self.lbl message dot is hidden for the time the app launch, so it's true. And now let's create our model class first. So here new Swift file, and here we go, and here we say user, and here we say struct user, and it contains where email, or also we have, I think, username. Yes, we have enter username, so it contains the username of type string, right? And then we will enter an email that will place a check there, and you can pass the exact value here. For this tutorial, I am using a dummy values because I am not going to integrate any API in this tutorial. So here we have created our model class, that's the user, that contains all the username and email. Now the next part is to create a view model for the class. So here we will say login, or you can say authentication if you want to use this view model for the sign up class too. So here authentication VM.swift and create, and here we have class authentication VM, and here we say NS object. So here this is our class for our ViewModel authentication VM. Now here first we need to write a function that authenticate user. So let's write authenticate user with email of type string and password of type string 2, and here it is. Now here first we will check that whether user entered the values or not. So if email dot count is not equals to 0, and else here we will throw, or we will pass the message, the error message, to our view. So here we will get back to this later on. So let's add our password dot count validation here. Count is not equals to 0, and here we will say else, and here we have password empty, and here we will say our email is empty. So now once the validation is checked, we will create one more function, that is file private, and that will verify user either with our database, or in this tutorial we will just place a dummy check here with email of type string and password of type string. So here it is. This is our file private function, and verify user with, right? So here we will check verify. Sorry, I forgot to add a keyword func here, and then we'll say verify user with email and password. So now here our logic will begin here. So if we say email is equals to test @g, or you can say our email or username. Sorry, I think it's username. Yeah, it's username, sorry. And let's change this to with username. Username will go here, and here we will say username. So here username is equals to test. If username is equals to test and password is equals to 1 2 3 4 5 6, then we have our user login, and we will throw a message that this user doesn't belongs to this app, or whatever invalid credentials. Let's say invalid credentials, and here we will create let user is equals to our user model, and here we have username, so we'll say user name, and here email will be our user name test.com, or you can say testmail.com. It's not looks good, so let's concatenate the strings. And here we have our username. Okay, so now we already have this value. We already have our user now. So the next thing, how we will pass the data to our view. So for this, either you can pass this user as in the callbacks, because we are using closer for this, or either you can pass only the completion method and write some methods here that will fetch the username and email for the particular user. So since some developers pass the model object to the view and some write those functions, so we will follow the same approach. We will write our function here and we will not expose our model to the view class. So here we will write, here we will create a property that says where username of type string, and it will return. So for this we need this user here, user dot username, and here we need email of type string2, and it will also return user dot email. Now here we need to write a callback, so we say type alias and authentication login call back, and it will say status of type bool and message of type string and nothing else, because if status is false then we do have error, and otherwise we don't have. So here and here we'll say callback of type authentication callback. Here it says login callback, and here okay. So now here we will pass our self dot login callback, and it will set two parameters, false. So here, because this is authentication failed, so false, and here we'll pass our message that password should not be empty, and similarly this goes for the username here, not email. So username, because we are using username in our this tutorial, username should not be empty. So this is the callback we write here, and now here we will say self dot login callback, and it also says false because the credential doesn't match. So here we have a message that please enter valid credentials, and if the success, so here it says self dot login callback, and here it's true, and message user is successfully authenticated. Now we need to write a one completion handler, so we say login completion handler, and here we say callback of type authentication login callback, and here it says self dot login callback, it's type callback. Okay, so here we need to enter escaping parameter to the closer. So we are done with our view model, and here it is. So now in our view controller, what we will do, Here we will create a class where authentication, object authentication VM is equals to authentication VM, and here we say authentication VM dot authenticate a user with self.txt username dot text, and here self.txt password dot text. So here, since this is option, so you can also do this. Let user name is equals to self.txt user name, else do nothing, and similarly this for password. txt password, and we will not pass up, and here we will pass username, and here we say password. Now here we will say authentication VM dot login completion handler, and it says status, and here we have message, or if status is true, else we will say self.lbl message dot text is equals to our message, and it should not be hidden. Message dot is hidden is equals to false, and similarly we will do this. Dot text. And here similarly we will do it in false, but here we will print logged in with username is equals to self.authentication VM dot username, and email is equals to self.authentication VM dot email. Spelling mistake, these are the silly mistakes. So here we have login user, we will must hide lbl message dot is hidden is equals to true. Now here in this case you can say why I placed the status check here, because I am doing the same thing, just showing the message, but the message is different only. And in other case, if you want to show some pop-up or some bar that differentiate in color, that is for success it's green, and for error it's either red or something else, so these checks needed here. Also, since this is a closer, we will say it's self, so avoid retain count, and here we will say guard let self is equals to self else return. So here, now let's run the app and see if it works or not. So here our app net launched. Let's tap on login. So it doesn't work, and now it says username should not be empty. So there is an error that first time the callback doesn't work. Otherwise the username should be empty comes in second time. Now let's end test, and then again login here. Now it's validated password should not be empty. So now 1 2 3 4 5 6, and here it successfully validated us. Now if I change the user to test2, it says please enter valid credentials. So here this works, but the only case we have is that the first time it doesn't work. So let's check it out, and this is the basic flow of MVVM, though some developers use to pass the model direct to the view. So it totally depends upon your approach, that how you want it to be. In my case, I didn't expose my model to the view. Now let's go back and fix that error that doesn't call the callback first time. So for that, first go to authentication.vm, and now we need to debug it. Here we will place our breakpoint, and then we will run the app again. So here now tap on login, and here we see login callback is nil. By the time we reach here, the login callback is nil. So I think that might be the case because it calls too early. So now let's say if we add some delay here, dispatch queue dot async dispatch queue dot async. Here we have dispatch queue dot async after we have here I'm doing something wrong. Dispatch queue dot main dot async, sorry, async that dispatch time dot now plus 0.2 and execute will be this. So here this goes here. Now this self, just make it structure very indent, and now let's see if we solve our error or not. Now again build the app, build it succeeded, and here now I'm going to type I'm going to tap on login, and here username should not be empty. So now this time it's not nil, so I think it's taking some time, that's why. I didn't know the exact cause why it's getting nil. So here this is a small tutorial that will learn how we implement MVVM, that is model view model design pattern in iOS. If you have any questions, then please feel free to comment below, and if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and do share this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed it, as we will going to bring more tutorial on iOS Swift in near future. Lastly, Happy New Year in advance and Merry Christmas, and bye for now.